Welcome back to Street Hoops, the only place on the internet where we pull absolutely no punches. We rip the PR spin to shreds, and we are proudly calling a spade a spade. It is phenomenal to be here with you guys today, even if my blood pressure is currently through the roof. I am your host, Dre Fiver, and today we are getting entirely into the absolute, unmitigated disaster that is currently unfolding in Indiana. Stephanie White, or, as the fans on social media have officially started calling her after last night's abysmal display, Stephanie Metheny Trash Garbage White. I am telling you right now, your honeymoon period in Indianapolis has officially expired. It is over. It is done. Put a fork in it. All of your mainstream media defenders, all the analysts who were paid to run cover for you, they have completely tucked their tails between their legs and ran into hiding. You are officially on the chopping block, and frankly, you put yourself there. After what we just collectively witnessed last night, after the utter delusion that spewed out of your mouth in that post-game press conference, the basketball world is collectively demanding answers. I was sitting there, getting ready to watch this presser after the Fever choked away a 104-102 game to the Washington Mystics, and I was genuinely asking myself, okay, how is Stephanie White going to try and take credit for Caitlin Clark's legendary heroic play? How is she going to somehow twist this narrative and turn it into being all about her? How is she going to sit at that podium and pretend that it was her brilliant mastermind play design that magically got Caitlin Clark going off for 17 points in the fourth quarter? But folks, I was wrong. It was so much worse than that. It was infinitely worse. Stephanie White gets a direct, softball question from a credentialed reporter specifically highlighting Caitlin Clark's incredible resiliency and her 5 three-pointers in the fourth frame. And what do you think Stephanie White does? She makes it about absolutely everybody else on the roster. She speaks in the singular about the group. She looks completely disgusted that she even has to acknowledge the singular talent keeping her franchise relevant. The absolute arrogance to sit there, arms crossed, staring down the media, and refuse to give your generational superstar her flowers is bordering on pathological. People online are literally screaming, "Get this woman a drug test." The fans are saying she must be out of her mind, allegedly, because nobody in their right, sober mind watches a player put an entire deadweight franchise on her back to force overtime and then refuses to say her name. The fans are calling her Coach Metheny because you would have to be hallucinating to watch that basketball game and conclude that the whole group was responsible for that comeback. Let us actually break down the timeline of this absolute coaching malpractice, because the box score alone, as reported by major sports outlets, tells a story of an ideological saboteur running the sidelines. The first quarter starts, and Caitlin Clark is simply doing her thing. She is locked in, she hits back-to-back threes, the crowd is going wild, the offense is finally starting to look like a cohesive professional basketball unit. And what is Stephanie White's immediate, knee-jerk reaction? She essentially says, "Come take a seat with me, young one." She pulls her out, she subbed Caitlin Clark out, and brought her back in twice in the very first quarter alone. How? How is that even mathematically or strategically possible when you are trying to establish a rhythm? It is pure chaotic micromanagement designed to cool off the only player capable of winning you the game. And the result of that chaotic rotation? The second quarter. Oh, the second quarter was a masterclass in terrible offense and even worse defense. In a modern professional basketball game, this Indiana Fever team, constructed around the greatest offensive engine of this generation, managed to score exactly 9 points. 9 points in an entire quarter. Stephanie White, you are garbage for that. I am sorry, but as a basketball purist, you have to actively intentionally try to be that bad to only put up 9 points in 10 minutes with Caitlin Clark on your roster. It is almost as if the offensive scheme was designed by someone who fundamentally hates scoring. We roll into the third quarter, and what do we get? More absolute uselessness out of our head coach. Just more of arms-crossed McGee pacing the sidelines. More of eye-twitch McGee glaring at the floor, while the Washington Mystics build a 9-point lead. There are no adjustments, there is no fire. There is just a stubborn refusal to recognize that whatever garbage system she is trying to implement is failing miserably. The team is looking around for leadership, and they are getting absolutely nothing but cold stares and terrible substitutions. Then the fourth quarter finally rolls around, and you can literally see the exact moment Caitlin Clark decides she has had enough of this circus. You can see it in her eyes. She basically looks at the bench, looks at the opposing defense, and says to herself, "Screw all this. Screw the system. Screw you. Screw you, and especially screw you. We are going to go do our thing, and we are going to get back into this basketball game." She starts directing traffic herself. She is pointing at Maisha Hines-Allen. She is pointing at Lexi Hull, essentially telling them, just send me some screens. Get out of the way. I will make the shots. Don't even worry about it. And she delivers. She absolutely delivers. Caitlin Clark goes absolutely nuclear, going off for 17 points in the fourth quarter alone. She hits 5 three-pointers, completely erasing the deficit and forcing overtime through sheer unstoppable, uncoachable willpower. She did this in spite of her head coach, not because of her. It was a wasted effort, a complete waste of a Caitlin Clark masterclass, because her own coach doesn't know how to capitalize on a lead, doesn't know how to extend it, and ultimately doesn't know how to close a game. Which brings us directly to the overtime period and the absolute tragedy of Kelsey Mitchell. I have been trying to be chill. I really have. I have defended Money Mitch in the past because she has been a loyal soldier for this franchise for years. But after last night, I don't know if I can defend you anymore, Kelsey. It wasn't Money Mitch last night. It was Funny Mitch. She was out there missing crucial free throws when the game was on the line. She was blowing wide-open, uncontested layups that you learned to make in elementary school. You absolutely hate to see it happen to a veteran, but you know what you hate even more? A head coach who blindly, stubbornly refuses to pivot. Stephanie White was actively trying to force-feed Kelsey Mitchell at the absolute end of the game, multiple times, even after Mitchell blows a wide-open layup. Even after she clanks all her critical free throws, Stephanie White, I am screaming this into a microphone hoping it reaches Indianapolis. Stop giving the ball to Kelsey Mitchell when the game is on the line, and Caitlin Clark has the hot hand. How on earth does Caitlin not take more shots in the overtime period? She just dropped 17 in the fourth, she is seeing the basket like an ocean, and you draw up plays to use her as a decoy? It is criminal. And the fan base is rightfully asking, how is this front office, and how is Stephanie White still employed this morning? This is not even a playoff team under this current regime. We are watching terrible coaching, terrible chaotic rotations, and terrible roster construction. Let us be brutally honest for a second. This franchise lucked into back-to-back #1 overall draft picks with Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark. If they did not have those two generational gifts dropped into their laps by the lottery gods, this would be, without a shadow of a doubt, the worst team in the entire league. I was looking at the rotation data, and it is mind-boggling. In the very first half of a tight competitive game, Stephanie White decided to go 11 players deep into her bench. Why? How is that even possible? This isn't a preseason scrimmage. This is a regular season game where every win matters. And yet, amidst going 11 deep, she somehow only finds 4 minutes of playing time for Michaela Timpson and 4 minutes for Raven Johnson. You are throwing players onto the court just to throw them out there, completely destroying any semblance of chemistry or flow. But today is strictly about Stephanie White getting absolutely destroyed in the court of public opinion, and I am entirely here for it. I have been waiting for this exact moment like clockwork. The receipts were kept, folks. The internet never ever forgets. Let us roll back the tape to a previous game, a game where the exact same type of question was asked to Stephanie White, but this time, it was about Kelsey Mitchell having a big performance. The reporter asked her to break down Mitchell's game. And what did Stephanie White say? She didn't say the whole group showed resilience. No, she glazed Kelsey Mitchell to the absolute moon. She sat up there and literally said, I'm speechless, really. She put us on her back, made big shot after big shot, big play after big play. She didn't settle, she stayed aggressive, and she willed us. Are you kidding me? You have the capacity to recognize when a player puts the team on their back. You literally possess the vocabulary to say she willed us to victory. But the very second that player is named Caitlin Clark, the player who actually, literally put the entire state of Indiana on her back, scored more threes in one quarter than the first 2 games combined, and forced overtime, suddenly you lose your voice? Suddenly it's about the group? Suddenly you have an angry, insecure, hidden hatred that prevents you from saying one single good thing about your superstar? It is entirely BS. Give CC her flowers. Give her the respect she has earned by saving your job night after night. Even Jason Whitlock is calling this out online. When you have analysts from completely opposite sides of the sports media spectrum completely agreeing that your behavior is pathological and ridiculous, you know you have messed up. Whitlock posted that Fever fans should actively boycott this woman and that the people who hired her need to be fired immediately. And he is 100% correct. This loss is squarely on the shoulders of Stephanie White and the completely incompetent entire front office, and I am specifically looking at Lynn Dunn. It is also on the front office fan club, the people online who run cover for this disaster, the group the streets are calling Slurp FC. The more this blind fan club cheers for the front office, the more this team is going to suffer. We get articles defending Stephanie White. We get fluffy, puff-piece interviews defending Stephanie White. We get all these media members putting on their blinders like they can't see what is actually taking place right in front of their eyes, just because they are terrified of losing their media credentials, or because they are receiving their money from the Indiana Fever PR machine. Oh, I can't ask about her awful rotations. Oh, I can't bring up the obvious tension. I just want my press pass. It is cowardly journalism. If you read the comments under any official Indiana Fever post today, it is a bloodbath. It is a unified chorus, fire Stephanie White. Time to sack Stephanie White. It is over for her. Fans are saying she might actually be worse than Christy Sides, which I didn't even think was scientifically possible, but here we are. Fans are begging, pleading for Metheny to just hit the transfer portal. I am seeing people genuinely suggest that they would gladly give up a future first-round draft pick just to trade her away to another franchise. That is how toxic this has become. There is an ideological sabotage happening right before our eyes. She has got to go. She can't even give her player basic props when she single-handedly takes over the game to drag them to OT. It is pure, unadulterated insecurity. She wants everyone to know that she is the boss, that she runs the show, and she resents the fact that the entire world is tuning in to watch number 22, not the coach stalking the sidelines. This is exactly why I have been adamantly, loudly, and consistently on the get Stephanie White the hell out of here train. Under her so-called leadership, offensively there is absolutely no identity. Defensively, which is supposedly her calling card, there is zero identity. You clearly do not like your best player. You blatantly do not know how to utilize your best player in crunch time. You absolutely refuse to give public credit to your best player. Every single win this team manages to scrape together is a victory despite your best efforts to make us lose. Let that sink in. Caitlin Clark's success last night was entirely in spite of you, Stephanie, not because of you. The fans are tired. The streets are tired. We are tired of sticking up for this regime. Tired of hearing the excuses that they need more time together. Tired of hearing about early season rust. It is a fundamental structural flaw in the coaching philosophy, and until it is excised from this franchise, the Indiana Fever will continue to waste the greatest phenomenon women's basketball has ever seen. All right, guys, my voice is giving out from screaming about this absolute insanity. I need to hear from you. Get down into the comments section below and let me know your unfiltered thoughts. Is Stephanie White actively sabotaging Caitlin Clark because of her own ego? Is she worse than Christy Sides? Do you think the front office will actually listen to the fans and make a move? Or are they too stubborn to admit they made a massive mistake? Like the video? Hype the video to push it into the algorithm so the powers that be in Indiana are forced to see it. And make sure you subscribe to Street Hoops for the most real, uncompromising basketball news on the platform. That would mean so much to me. I will see you guys next time. Stay vigilant out there. And as always, take it easy. Check out this detailed breakdown of the game to see exactly what I'm talking about. Deep dive into Fever versus Mystics, Caitlin Clark impact, rotations, Stephanie White postgame, and more. This video provides an excellent visual analysis of the chaotic rotations and the specific plays during the fourth quarter and overtime that highlight the coaching failures discussed today.